into finished products like cosmetics, essential oils, and spices. And our main aim is to contribute to sustainable practices and ethical sourcing. In addition, I'm the co-founder of the GECO Center for Climate Justice, which aims to empower young people in playing an active role in mitigating the effects of climate change. So we undertake things like upcycling, we have contribution to reforestation efforts, exploring clean energy alternatives. And lastly, I'm a software engineer and web developer.
Wow. One of different parts. All right, let's get the conversation going. Henry, let me start off with you. Let's talk about the digital age and how it's reshaped the way young people approach entrepreneurship as we compare it to the previous times or times past.
Well, it's actually very interesting because previously, for young ones to actually, our parents and our senior brothers and sisters, for them to accumulate knowledge, they had to go to libraries and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And even closer to closer to 2010, 2009, I remember even I had to learn a bit of search engine optimization so I can actually search things well and get the right things I'm looking for. But fast forward 7 years now, you realize that everything has changed and information is so accessible now that kids can now sit in the comfort of their homes and then absorb a lot of content that they can use to prepare themselves for entrepreneurship and then all of the digitalization that is going on. So I think that it's actually a very massive improvement because for we in Africa here where access to these things are not seen as easy or they're very difficult, the barrier is actually very high. You realize that now I have my 10, 15 years old siblings calling me and saying that I was reading this thing on whatever platform and then I learned that I can use AI to do this. How do I do that? Or can I just do it? And you realize that now it's shaping how they are preparing themselves for the future. So it's actually a very good thing. And then the shift is actually very, very, very impactful.
I see. Wonderful. And what you're saying is very true. The explosion is great. But of course, with all of these things, there are challenges and obstacles. Sandra, can you just share some of the biggest obstacles that young entrepreneurs like yourself face when trying to innovate in this new digital age and how Edtech can help overcome all these challenges?
Thanks for the question. I like the fact that you said like myself. Because most people know me as a young CEO of the university in Ghana.
Yeah.
And let me take myself as an example. Growing up, I didn't get access to mentorship.
Okay.
And this one big problem young entrepreneurs face because when you don't get access to mentorship and they start something, it becomes very difficult for them because they don't have access to the knowledge that they have to have before they start the business. So Edtech can help in the sense that they can provide a virtual platform where you can connect to like-minded people in the space and can mentor you to get to a higher point, to a higher.
I see. I mean, my next question is for the entrepreneurs in the room, and maybe Leona, if you have something to add. Share just bits about your journey and how tech or Edtech influenced your decisions to go in the directions you've all gone in. I don't know. Anybody can start. I don't know.
Okay, so for me, I started Lebeni Botanicals because I wanted to kind of bridge the gap between small scale farmers and global markets.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of a way of adding value to Ghana's natural resources. So you realize that Ghana is the highest exporter of unrefined shea butter.
Wow.
Yes.
Highest exporter of unrefined shea butter. So just raw shea butter or the one we just
raw shea butter.
Raw. It's not touched.
And we sell this to foreign companies. They make cosmetics out of them. We buy them, we import them back to Ghana. So why can't we make something out of it and use and also find foreign markets to sell to? Because in Asia, for instance, there's high demand for shea products. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was one of the things that led me to learn. And I started learning formulation using technology. I didn't have a background in skincare formulation and all that, but I went online, went to different websites for free skincare courses, free videos online. Yes, so that's what brought me this far. So I'll say that tech is something that's actually shaping the youth we have in a positive way, and all we need to do is leverage it to make impact in our society. Thank you.
Henry, what's your story?
Well, actually, I was doing tech before I became an entrepreneur. So
So you're already in the space.
yes,
Okay.
and it's quite interesting because I started tech trying to solve problems, and one of the major problems I realized was with learning.
Mhm.
And way back in high school, I realized when teachers teach, you have colleagues come back and be like, okay, the teacher said this, but I don't think I understand the concept because it looks like it's all theory. You have to
Very
formulate the whole
abstract,
concept from your mind, and you realize that it's very difficult to understand that. So we started looking out for videos. When you go to YouTube, how do I find a video on calculus or this topic and that topic? So I kind of got fascinated by how I was able to access some of these informations online and then provide this information to my colleagues, even at high school. But then after high school, I realized that I was doing all of that and I was not getting anything. Basically, I was just doing that for free. And the problem with that was that eventually you begin to lose passion slowly because now you are not getting anything in return for the effort you are making. So I had to school myself, understand business. How do I pitch my ideas to people? How do I speak about business, communication? And so I leverage on a lot of free resources, actually, a lot of them. And that's how I've been able to dive in from the tech space into the entrepreneurship. So it's rather the reverse for me because tech is actually what I was passionate about before
Before you
I
added
yeah,
the
before I added the
entrepreneurial.
entrepreneurial part. Yeah.
Say, Henry.
Yeah, so we likely share the same story because when I also started, I was more focused on creating solutions to aid persons with disability.
Mhm.
But I didn't know that this would become a business because it's more of a passion that drives me, not like money. So fast forward, um, I had to change it into a business because man has to survive.
Of course.
Of course. So, yeah, that was when I also engaged myself into business, the business world. I started listening to audios about yeah, business people out there, and I started this one learning too.
So you got mentored from afar.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly, and I started engaging myself in tools and resources that can help me teach others, and then help myself to learn.
okay, wonderful. You've been quiet. Let me get your thoughts on
Yeah.
the ways EdTech can help bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical business. Because you are in the or like the teaching or like if you like the tuition, yes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So really, in what ways can EdTech help bridge the gap between the theory of this abstract thing in our minds and then the practical ways of handling business or the practical skills you can give people to run their businesses better?
Thank you for the question. Truly, EdTech has helped a lot in bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and also practical business skills. I would like to go into this aspect with the introduction of virtual reality,
Okay.
where students are able to build their projects and their products using with virtual reality. Looking at that, a lot of students try to build their business ideas or their prototypes with purchase of raw materials, building setups, installing machines. But then with the introduction of virtual reality, it has been more evident in, producing a very good so sorry.
That's right.
Yeah. So I am thinking that it has helped a lot, and it even goes beyond with the work I do at JGAN,
Yeah.
where we bridge the gap between resource and under resource schools. Where before COVID, we used to have volunteers and coaches who would go out there to deliver the program to schools, and that was mainly done in Accra. But during COVID, where everybody was inside on lockdown and everything like that, we had to also use Google Classrooms to help the students also learn online.
Okay.
So this helped us very well, especially us reaching and extending to more schools in the country, more regions, in Tamale, Volta, a lot of regions. So after COVID, we realized that most of the schools in the remote areas were not getting the needed tools and knowledge that they would get from these things because they lacked resources. So they did not have a lot of resources. So we thought about it and we put together some video content and video format that can be used to help also with schools who are in the remote areas.
Okay.
So also gain such high quality information when it comes to the delivery of the program, of the entrepreneurship program. So it's even evident in some of the works we've done, especially in the National Business Pitch Competition, which we host every year. It's an annual competition for students who pitch their business ideas. And in 2022, we had Sewa Kese from Joy and Quanta, who emerged as winners, and then they continued to partake in the compete in the Africa regional level in Nigeria. I was there.
I see, wonderful. What was the idea? I'm just curious. What was their business?
So Joy and Quanta, it's been a while. Actually been a while, but theirs was about a solar panel using cooking, but then using the solar panel to cook and to blend. Yes, something of a sort. It's been a while, so my mind is
that's wonderful. I mean, look, to think that a school that far from Accra, because of all these things or channels, will get the chance to also take part in such a program.
Exactly.
So you have schools from all over the country taking part.
All over the country, taking part, public and government schools, public and international schools who have joined hands to partake in this program. And in 2023, we also had Advancing Senior High, who also clinched the title and went on to Rwanda last year. Rwanda, they are leading in the African regional competition, and also went to the global stage to represent Africa. And in 2024, we just recently had our competition just recently, and Archbishop Potter girls also emerged as winners, and then we're going to Mauritius in November to also represent.
They are enjoying themselves. Wonderful work.
So you are able to understand the fact that the power of Edtech has made my organization close that gap between theoretical knowledge and then practice business.
I see. Wonderful. Great stuff there. Shout outs to Junior Achievement Gap. Back in Accra Academy, had a club of the sorts. They had a bit of a shop, call it a Jacko shop, and of course it was Junior Achievement. And but let me come back to you. Let's talk about the role of Edtech and how you think it will evolve in the next few years. Whether there will be any challenges and advantages you see in terms of supporting young entrepreneurs like you or like Henry, like Chidedi, and the millions out there.
All right, thank you. So I think we continue to go that's our personalized resource action. And the challenge I'm seeing here with the underserved communities, which access like the but the fact that they are already providing the access to them. And this really good because when it comes to Edtech, I mean, because of the way it's put, underserved communities can participate in these activities, which is really into to involve both to the world and both to the
It's wonderful. Did them get your thoughts on fostering creativity and critical thinking in the environment of young children? They are children of school-going age and all of that. How can educators and policymakers support the integration of Edtech and fostering entrepreneurial skills among young people?
All right, thank you for the question. So when it comes to fostering creativity and innovation in children, I'll say that it's one of the most vital things to do as both parents, educators, and policymakers. So we usually have settings where people are used to a certain style of learning, say rote learning. And at Business School Netherlands, they have this popular quotes or popular question they've been asking, and it's why do we learn? You find out, why do we learn? So the simple answer is that we learn to apply the knowledge we've acquired to solve problems around us. If we're able to understand this, then I feel like it makes the whole learning process easy for us. Sorry. And Albert Einstein also said something that education is that which remains if one has forgotten what he learned in school. So these two sayings stress the impact of critical thinking in people. So how are you able to apply what you've learned, the things around you? How are you able to apply it in real life situations to solve the complex and simple problems around us? So I believe that at home, parents can say foster creativity by not putting their children in boxes.
Not literal boxes.
Yes. Encouraging them to think outside the box. So letting them engage in mentally stimulating activities. You have things like jigsaw puzzles, Rubik's cubes, even the normal Owari that we play. Things that will open their minds to the world around them. And it would be good to also encourage them to explore what they enjoy instead of kind of forcing them to toe a certain line. Maybe you say that, oh, my friend's daughter is a doctor. You have to become a doctor by all means possible. Meanwhile, your child may be talented at, say, robotics or something. So allow them to explore. And I believe it will also be great if policymakers and educators can think of adding more practical oriented things to our curriculum. So more practice. The theory is good, but at the end of the day, how do we apply that theory to the real
It's the
world?
practice that reinforces.
Exactly. So it would be good to have the use of technology, things like AI in learning. Not every student learns the same way. Some people learn by listening, some by actually practicing, some by hearing. So as an educator, you should look at what works best for your students. So AI tailored recommendations for your students. You can look at incorporating virtual reality, as Leona mentioned, and augmented reality, which would create a more immersive learning environment for children. So for instance, say subjects like geography can be a bit abstract.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're telling you about
yeah.
they'll be telling you about planetary system, Mars is located here and there, and you can't even relate to it. But what if in virtual reality? They could actually put you in Mars. The whole class takes a trip to Mars, experiences. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things that we can look at, and we can see that it would help shape our youth in a way that they'll have a growth mindset. They'll be willing to push the limits and strive for what they really want instead to reach their goals.
Also to add to what you said about using AI, I also think that it's very important. It's a very important tool that I think we in this country we have to also use. With what she was saying, I feel like currently a lot of schools, most of the schools here do not know artificial intelligence. They do not know the use of artificial intelligence and what it can do. But then with the support from policymakers and educators, I mean, we can use this as an advantage and find better ways to make it available for our young ones out there so that they can also use this as well.
I see.
Let me just say that they need to do it responsibly. So
Responsibly.
AI,
Okay. Keyword.
yes, responsibly,
Keyword.
because the topic of AI is actually a very complicated one, and so I do go for a few conferences and understand how the whole technology will work. But then the concern most of the policymakers are having now is that the information that you are giving out there is a lot, and sometimes it's like you're giving a knife to a kid, right? So it's likely that the kid just going to get himself or something like that. So there is this responsible AI thing that is going now that everybody's trying to focus on. How do we make sure that the AI is tailored to the kids in such a way that they don't access information they are not supposed to access, right? And so I think that it's good that we look at the good side of all of this, but it's also important that the policy makers also have these conversations with the industry experts to understand how they can create the barriers, because if we don't understand the boundaries around how we are using the tools, it ends up biting us in the back. So just to add that.
Yeah, it's very necessary for them to also look at the downside of it so that they can find a fine balance to how AI can help.
See,
Like,
Senator, you wanted to.
Yeah. I said it back. Let me just highlight on something quickly. So, like what she just said is very good because currently not even only AI, but technology is improving, and right now we have something called gamification, where it creates interactive games in the form of learning. Yes, so that students can engage more and quickly understand what they are teaching them. So currently technology is really helping the ethnic space.
See, it's wonderful. Let me ask the entrepreneurs here. How do you stay updated? Lots of things are happening in space, tech and innovation. Things are always changing. How do you stay updated? How do you stay competitive? And what would be your advice to those who want to use technology to start their own businesses?
Well, for me, I would say I'm already a tech person, so I
So
get
there's no way anything will pass you by.
yeah. So for sometimes it is a very complex concept, right? So being part of a tech community is actually help. So when in a tech community, they have some conferences and they have some seminars, some Google Meet or some Twitter spaces. You get to join and then you get to listen to, okay, what is this AI thing about? Then you get to ask your questions. And I think it's actually very helpful because sometimes we hear about these tools and then the first thing that comes to mind is no, it's not for me. And so let me just stay away from it. And then maybe it could have actually helped improve your business or improve whatever plans you have. So tech communities is one. And if you're in Ghana, I think some tech communities I could recommend. We have Dev Congress. That's on Slack. We have GDG Accra. Um, they have it's also a tech community. They do this annual events and they do a lot of conferences actually. A few other things you can also do is to listen to a lot of podcasts. I think um podcasts and listening content is actually underrated, but it's actually very helpful. Sometimes you are working and doing something, and then you just need to put something in and then be paying attention to something. So podcasts actually do help a lot, a lot actually. And so podcasts, I mean, you have all the resources already available, so you just need all of those, and then you need to find like minds. You need to find a way of connecting with like minds. So you want to be an edtech entrepreneur. You want to do something in edtech. You need to find people who are already doing something like that, or a space that would work for you. That's where you then get to know the challenges that are going on and how you can fix something. You don't do edtech when you are in ag tech or you're in a different space, right? So that's also something I'll add to that. And I think you need to also be very passionate about what you're trying to do. If you are thinking having two thoughts about the thing, I don't think you can put in your maximum effort into it. So I think yes, that's it for me.
I don't know what the others have got to add.
Yeah, so to just add to it, yeah, currently, it's easier to stay updated to this kind of technology change because when you look at social media now, with the algorithm, what you watch is what you get. So they say I watch a lot of tech videos. Every trend I get to see it quickly because of how the algorithm is programmed. And like you said, the channels and then the communities, they are really helpful because you can join some amazing communities in channels that always update you on the current trend. So yes, that's what they have.
Chidedi.
Yeah, I'll also say that having access to information or the right kind of information is very important and following the right people. So let's say if you are using a social medium like LinkedIn, then you look for the giant. They usually post insightful things, opportunities. So you follow certain key foundations like MasterCard Foundation. That's if you want to stay updated with the current trend.
Is the power of edtech and innovation. my guests, and I've been chatting with them. We have a few more questions to go, so we are not done. I have Henry Clevo is the Chief Branding and Marketing Officer at Firefly. I've got Jidedi Sena. I hope I got it right.
Yes,
Jidedi Sena, CEO of Lebene Botanicals. I've got Senyegbe Agbema BSC, CEO of Code Club Academy, and Leona Asan, Programs Assistant, Junior Achievement, Ghana. Let's move it on. We have a few more questions. Let's talk about the future. Jidedi, this is your question. As we look towards the future, what is your vision in your mind's eye? What do you see when we talk about the role of tech shaping the next generation of entrepreneurs in Ghana and beyond?
Okay, so I envision a revolutionized kind of economy and system where young people are limitless and there are no boundaries in reaching their goals. So with tech, for instance, you don't need to know how to do something before embarking on the adventure. As I mentioned, I didn't know anything about formulation.
Okay.
But it just took the commitment and dedication to learn. So as long as you want to do something, there's nothing stopping you from doing it because you have the right access to information. You can go to YouTube right now and learn anything you want to do. There are several entrepreneurs who have learned just by watching. And it brings me to an example of our first climate change workshop with the Chico Center for Climate Justice. We had an upcycling session with the kids, and they knew nothing about upcycling. They didn't know the kind of things they could even make from plastic waste. But we showed them videos right from YouTube, how to make things from plastic waste, and it was remarkable. The next time we went to them, they had made so many wonderful things, and we were even surprised ourselves. Yeah, so I see technology kind of bridging access to global markets, connecting people, like bringing about collaboration, access to funding, grants, and that kind of thing. Because now with technology, you can be in Ghana, sell your products in the United States. You don't need anything special. You can just use an e-commerce app to achieve something like that.
See, wonderful stuff. This one is for everybody. Let's talk about the emerging trends that you believe will have the biggest impact as we talk about youth entrepreneurship and its advancement and progress and all.
I think the most obvious one is AI.
Yeah.
The most obvious one is AI.
Okay.
But then when it comes to the edtech space, I think we are moving towards stimulations and virtual realities where we don't need to be at the place to do what we have to do. We can do it all in this room here. Just by some few gadgets, we can create the space of a climate, whatever. Like it's going to be so interesting because I remember back on campus, my campus had an event where they brought in students to nursing students, right? And then they give them VR headsets and then all of them were so focused instantaneously. Like you see that everybody wanted to see what is going on. And then I realized that right after the session, people were really interested. They were having conversations. Okay, so if we need one of these, how do we get this? How do we, is it something that's available on the market? How do we help us get? So we begin to realize that once some of these tools begin to roll out, there's going to be a demand for it because it's going to actually improve how the learning and then the accumulation of knowledge is going to change. So VR, AR, these are things that I believe is going to drastically change the edtech, and of course, AI being the chairman.
Any more thoughts? Any more thoughts? Sandra, do you have something to add?
Well, yeah. So again, what you said was actually the obvious answer to this question is AI. And that will let me help a lot of the things that happen and to mention because when you look at AI and how it's born, it's really great. And with the stimulation you highlighted on, when it comes to learning now, the traditional method is let me see going away. They are now coming to the new one, which is the stimulation. So we are now in a virtual world where we can easily learn with the resource in that virtual world, not in the physical space. And we should really help people that can't afford the resource physically.
I see. Wonderful. Any more thoughts? Leona, do you want to add anything?
Back to what I was saying about AI. I mean, this is something that we all mentioned.
What's that AI?
Yeah. I mean, because when you look at even ChatGPT now, the one is involved with them, even using ChatGPT, that even helped some of us in terms of getting some information. And I think it's really, really important that we incorporate AI into the education. I mean, it's good for students as well. And when you go
But
outside
of course,
the country,
responsible use.
yes, yeah, exactly. When you go outside the country, you are making use of AI and bots. And so why can't we also do the same thing here as well? But we should use a reformed way of using the AI system. Yes. So that's something that I will pursue with that.
Okay.
And
Alright,
just
yes.
I like it. So yeah, it's not teaching.
There's always that fear.
Yeah.
There's always that fear that AI comes in, kicks you out of the job because you're made redundant.
Yeah, but it's something to make everything simple and then useful. So it's not taking anyone.
So people shouldn't be afraid of
Yes,
fear. Really responsibly. Okay, all right. Let's listen to some young people who are sharing their thoughts on the same topic, leadership and all of that during the last International Youth Day.
Edna, and for the Shoemaker Girl,
That went
and
well.
author of the book The Shoemaker
Welcome
Girl,
back.
and then the co-founder of Ahofa Day. I mean, we are so fortunate to
Yeah,
have
I see
ourselves
you
in the
went well.
digital space. So, I mean, we are so fortunate to have ourselves in the digital space. So, in terms of our business, selling our product, we leverage on social media, Instagram, we have a website, we leverage on LinkedIn, we leverage on Shopify and all that. So, yeah, in terms of reaching global audience, technology is playing a huge role there, making things also purchase easier. Technology is also playing a role there for us, and also to put our brand there for other people to also see us. Technology is making it possible for that. That's I would say innovative, and because every day and then new things are churning up in the system, and for you to always be in the game for long, you need to leverage on technology. You need to use that as your advantage, because every day and then there are different things that are popping into the system. Now we are able to use ChatGPT alone to even help us in creating our content. We might have our own content, but then because sometimes, I mean, you don't have the words, and this AI help us to create. I mean, we just give it a prompt. It gives us a very narrow, and then we just edit to suit our own narrative, and it's been helpful. It's making the work easier and innovative. Like I said, my shoe for the shoeless project is AI that's going to generate that. I mean, I have to sketch the design, but the AI is going to enhance the image for us before we can able to produce that shoe. Well, education technology is doing so well now. Is making the young ones who have something. People are good, but they didn't know how to come up with their. I mean, some are good in drawing, some are good in making design, coding, and all that. Now, Edtech is making it possible. It's a creating platform for these people to be known and to be noticed. At first, we will not get to see people who are doing coding and crazy stuff like that. But this, because of Edtech, people are being advocates for themselves. People are showing up more and coming up with exactly what you're supposed to do. And so it's been helpful. It's been a game changer. Yeah.
In regards to the skills that young people need to acquire in the next 3 to 5 years, I would say all young people should be looking towards emerging technologies like AI, Web3, gaming, and extended reality. Although these skills might seem broad, it's important for young people to start their journey off by understanding what these skills have to offer. What are these industries and what kind of diverse roles are available to them? It's not always about building the technologies that I've mentioned, but learning how to use them is what would be the critical aspect that young people would need to understand to thrive in the next 3 to 5 years. Young people should look at positioning themselves into communities where they are able to get mentorship support, build networks, as
Yeah.
well as find resources to build an understanding of these technologies. We live in a digital world, so young people can find these communities in places like TikTok, actually, WhatsApp groups, X, and other social media groups like Telegram. We also have a lot of digital training skills with platforms free and open to young people to just take the first step.
Okay, so my name is Monkaila Mohammed. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Dolca Fresh Enterprise, a post-harvest loss company based in Cape Coast. Currently, we produce fruit and vegetable juices and then other fruit products like dried fruit chips, fruit powders, and gums. So, through digital skills and innovation, we've been able to reach higher audience customers from various parts of Ghana, from Cape Coast to Tamale, Cape Coast to Kumasi. We've been able to reach a number of people that we do deliveries to almost every week. Aside that, we are also on digital platforms like Hubtail and the likes. It makes it easier for customers to reach out to us to buy from us almost every day. Yes. And aside that too, through digital skills and innovation, we've been able to extend the shelf life of our juices by going through heat process, then drying of the fruit as well. So digital knowledge is very crucial in the sense that if you don't leverage on it, you might be doing so well, but people might not see you because you are not on social media. Today, social media, we use social media for almost everything that we do. So if you are able to use it well, you will go far. It's a platform for you to reach higher audience, get contracts, business opportunities, etc. Me, for instance, growing up, I'm not that social media person. Okay, so I think collaborations will do. If you think you can do, you are not well to do with digital skills, you can collaborate with other young entrepreneurs who are into that space so that they can help you to get to the audience that you may be looking for. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Juliana Ifia Mahmood. I'm a social worker and then a disability justice advocate and a disability inclusion facilitator as well. I advocate for the rights and protection of persons with disabilities, especially women and children with disabilities and the aged. Now the world we live in has become a global village. And so whatever you do as a person, you need technology to be able to function effectively or to perform your tasks effectively. So me as an advocate and a social worker as well, the digital system has helped me a lot because when it comes to the writing of my reports, advertising my products, and then even sending emails to my partners, reaching out to my listeners and then my followers, I use the digital system. And so it has really helped me a lot in my education, in my employment field, and then in my advocacy as well. Okay, so as a lady with a visual impairment, sometimes some of the challenges I face is that yes, I use the social media a lot, but it's not all the platforms that I'm able to access because it is not um accessible for persons with disability. So I'm not able to use it as my colleague without a disability can use that to advertise his or her product or do some other work as it is. And then sometimes to because most of the softwares are not in accessible formats for we persons with disabilities, we are not able to use it to our advantage when it comes to our field of work. So it's a bit of a challenge for us. So what I'll say is that with the software development, the developers, I would say is that when they are developing the softwares, they should take into consideration the different categories of persons with disabilities so that the products they bring on board would be able to benefit all. And then the social media platforms should be made accessible in terms of accessing information, communication, and even how to process the information for it to reach the larger audience with regards to those with different forms of disabilities. Targeting especially persons with disabilities in the rural areas who are into business so that they will be able to get profits for what they produce, and people will also know them for what they do.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. So those were the thoughts of some young people talking about their journey into entrepreneurship using tech. And all of that was happening during the last International Youth Day. We'll wrap it up in the studio. My guests are still here. Henry Clever, Jidedi Senaya, Senyabe Akbema BSA, and Leona Asa. Guys, let's wrap it up. We've heard these young people. We've also heard the story. Concluding thoughts as we go around the table. Any final words you want to share? Maybe bits of advice. Anything you want to share before we wrap it up?
For me, the bit of advice I can give, and this is something that I have conversations with the students I handle. Yeah, so a bit of advice is mainly on creating or establishing a solid and building networks with people who inspire you and support your growth. It is very, very essential in entrepreneurship, and it will open into the world of opportunities out there. So that's just a little bit of advice from me.
Okay.
Well, for me, what I would say is this is all the passion for learning. So a lot of people think learning has to do with going to classrooms and sitting in front of a lecturer or some people, but I think learning has to do with you absorbing some information and understanding the information you are taking in. So when you're passionate about information and what it means, or understanding that it opens you to a lot of opportunities. So passion for learning, right? The second would be leverage on resources. So there's a lot of resources now that are openly available: YouTube, Coursera, Udemy, podcasts, whatever. There's a lot of tools that are available. So leverage on the tools that are, some of them are actually very free. So leverage on them and then build your skills gradually until you're able to get what you want.
Okay.
Then join communities, network. Join communities and network. You can't do everything by yourself. You need people who have the same thoughts, who have the same minds, and share ideas and share problems and share solutions. So join communities and network. And I think the last one would be to believe in yourself. Yeah.
Important. I believe that you can do it. Chinedu, final words. You get the last word.
So my final word will be just a reminder that we are currently in the fourth industrial revolution, which is capitalized by technology, digital skills. So do not be left out. Learn a tech skill today. Make use of AI. Don't think that your job will be taken because of AI. Rather, your job will be taken because you do not know how to use AI, but your colleague does. So take an interest in technology, seek the right mentorship opportunities. Just keep your ears to the ground to what's happening now. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful final words from my guest. Yeah, that's it. To wrap it up on the August edition of Edtech Monday was live on the City Breakfast Show. Yes, Henry, you want to say
So one final thing. So I have our annual robotics competition actually happening this Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
So I want to use this opportunity.
Where is it happening?
GCB Hall at UG,
Okay.
University of Ghana. Yeah. So I want to use this opportunity to invite listeners, viewers, to come around and watch how young kids are using the skills they've learned to robotics to actually solve real problems. So join me, UG campus, University of Ghana, Legon, GCB Hall, 9 a.m. to 5.
Okay. The whole day.
Yes, it's only 2 days. It's only 2 days. But the second day is going to be short. We'll have some awards. So we are expecting a lot of people. Of course, our chairperson, Professor Kaufman, is going to be there. We have some special guests coming in. So come in, come and network with people, come and see what young students are doing, what the power of Edtech is doing. So join us.
Yes.
Yes, I would also like to say that please follow us Junior Achievement Ghana on all social media platforms. And also you can find me on LinkedIn, Leona Asan. Please join the community and let's make impactful journeys together. Thank you.
So I also highlight the artificial intelligence. They are looking for ways to make your life better in the sense of increasing mobility. You can just hop on our website and then fill out our device, which is the smart VI.
Okay, thank you. So that was Senbe Agbema BS. He's the CEO of Code Club Academy. He was part of my panel. I also had Jidedi Senaya, CEO of Lebanon Botanicals. You had Henry Clevo, Chief Branding and Marketing Officer at Firefly IO, and Leona Asa, Programs Assistant, Junior Achievement Ghana. They were on my panel for the August edition of Edtech Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. It was fun. Unfortunately, when it's getting nice, we have to end it. But thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your time and all the best in all the endeavors you undertake.
And thanks so much.
And thank you out there for listening. It's been another edition of Edtech Monday. This was the August edition. Now remember, Edtech Monday is a platform for Edtech entrepreneurs, education stakeholders, and government reps to facilitate critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. It's an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation's Regional Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning. And as part of this strategy, you will want to find solutions to Africa's youth employment by closing the gap in access to quality education and advancing the integration of tech in education policies and practices across Africa. That's why at the end of every month, we have these conversations. We call them Edtech Monday, live on the City Breakfast Show, and also live on social on City 97.3 FM via Facebook, and also MEST Africa via Facebook. My name is Nathan Carr. I moderated the session. We'll be back in September with another exciting episode. I'm not gonna leave you at the end of the road. Give me all